Hey everybody, how you doing tonight? Out in the shop and I'm working on the pressure pot. Currently I have 60 pounds of pressure in the pot and it's 7:30. I'm going to let it sit for a couple of hours and see what happens. One thing I did is I went and purchased, I actually had an oiler and a water trap, but it was an older one, and when I went into the big box store today I saw this one, so I went ahead and picked it up and I just put an adapter on one end for connecting it two tools and an adapter on the other end to connect my hose to it. So bottom line, I can use this on any of my tools if I'm worried about water, oil, or debris such as rust from the tank getting into the tool. So I'm really happy. That went a lot quicker than I thought, and I think purchasing a new filter was a good idea. I don't know how old the old one is, and it may not even work for all I know. So this was just a little something I did. It wasn't all that expensive. I'm not sure what I'm gonna get into right now. I got a couple of things I need to do in the shop. I'm not sure which one I'll jump on next, but I will keep you posted. I do want to let you know that my cart, I started drawing up the plans today. I took all the measurements yesterday, and I downloaded SketchUp today, and I thought, well, I'll just try to do this in SketchUp. And I've never been one for graphics softwares. It's just not something that interests me. And I got to working on it, and I got to fiddling around, and I managed to draw what looked like a 2x4, and I stretched it out to the right length, and I needed to lay it down and then copy it. I couldn't figure out how to lay the dang thing down, and I looked at a couple of YouTube videos, and finally I thought, you know what, this is a headache. I'm a pen turner. I rarely draw plans, and unless I start doing more of that, to heck with this. I even looked at some of Jay Bates's videos, which were fantastic, by the way, but they just didn't resonate with me. So I scrapped all that. I got some plain white paper out of my printer. I got a ruler and a pencil, and I just started drawing. So it's not going to be the greatest art around, but I think it'll be decent enough to get the point across to anyone who's interested. So I probably am 3/4 of the way done with them. I'll finish them up, and then I'm going to shoot just a quick video on that thing, just kind of talking about it and showing the features. And I had a good suggestion today. It actually was kind of something that I had sort of thought about, but I hadn't put a lot of thought into it. And that is on the back of the shelves to cut a little angle. And that way when they go in, they don't hit that back 2x4 and stop. That you could hit the back 2x4, you could cut the angle to where it could hit the back 2x4 and slide it to the right or left to help it fit into the slot a little better. And I think that's a good idea, and I'm going to investigate that hopefully before I shoot the video. And I don't know how soon this will be, but I'm working on it for you guys. I know everybody wants to see that, so we're going to work on that. But anyway, talk too much. I'm going to go and get busy working on something else, and I will keep you guys posted. I'll let you know how things do with the pressure pot. It looks like it might be down a pound or two, so I may have a slow leak. I may just have to set the regulator and leave the compressor hooked to it. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. Well, guys, I've been kind of goofing around, taking some measurements and figuring some things out. I had to do a little research online, but let me show you real quick what I think I'm going to do. When I was down in Texas a while back, Lynn Lacey gave me this Delta air cleaner. He got a new one, didn't need this one anymore, and he gave it to me. And I think what I'm going to do after reading about it, up here on this wall, just probably, well, let me angle up a little bit more. You see that bar right there? That's where the stud is. So I'm going to mount the front two hooks for the chains there. I'll come back 24 inches. I don't know if I'm on 12-inch centers or 16, probably 16. So I may have to come back 16, and I'll mount the other two hooks, and I'm going to get that hung up there. Not going to climb the ladder tonight because, well, let me show you why. I got a whole bunch of crap in that corner, pardon the expression, but there's no other way to describe it. I just need to go through this corner and clean out. It's part of my process where I've been moving things, organizing and cleaning, and then stuff has kind of gotten pushed back. And I just need to take care of this area. As soon as I do, I'll get that mounted. It shouldn't be hard at all. I purchased some hooks at the big box store that are capable of holding 50 pounds each, and that thing probably weighs right about 50, 60 pounds. So I've got 200 pounds of hold, which should be good. And the other thing I need to do is when I brought it back from Texas, Lynn and I tossed the filter. So I got to get on Amazon. I've already looked it up, and I just need to place an order for a filter. And I'll be doing that here in the next day or two. So that way I only have to go up the ladder once, hang it, and then put the new filter in, and I can let it go for a while. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's all for me tonight. Well, I am watching my pressure gauge over there, so I may pop back in and let you guys know how things are going with the pressure pot. Well, guys, it's been a pretty good night. I hacked out a couple of things that need to happen with the air cleaner and then also working on the pot. Let me show you something. I recharged the pot to 60 psi and I left my hose connected just to make sure that it wasn't leaking through the valve. And I don't believe it is, because in a half an hour I've lost another 6 pounds. I really feel like with using the Loctite Blue 242 that it's not leaking from any of my filters, or I'm sorry, any of my fittings. These pots are notorious for leaking around the seal. So I think one of two things needs to happen. Number one, I may not have been able to crank those wing nuts down tight enough by hand. So I think when I get the standard bolts that I can crank down with a ratchet, that may help. And number two, what I want to do is I'll discharge the pot. Next time I'm in the shop, I'll rotate the lid maybe a quarter of a turn, clamp it back down, charge the pot, and just watch. And if I hit a orientation to where it does not leak in a half an hour, I'll mark the lid, I'll mark the pot so that I can always put it back in that same orientation. These Harbor Freight pots, I was warned about this ahead of time. They're notorious for leaking. However, the alternative pot was, I think, almost $400 for the base model, which was a smaller pot than this, and a 2.5 gallon pot was almost $900. So that's a little steep for my budget, being that I just want to play in the shop. So we're gonna do what we can, and worst case scenario, if I can't get an orientation that works, I'll break out a bottle of soapy water and begin squirting it around the seal and all of the fittings, looking for any air bubbles. That's really it for me tonight, guys. I'm gonna call it quits and wish you guys a happy evening. We'll talk to you again real soon. Thank you for hanging out with me, and take care.